the cloud. Okay, guys, we're recording. Carlos over here, week 3, if you would believe it. Can't quite believe it, of AuthenticU. Excited to have all of you here today. We've got a packed week, and I want to be. I don't know how much we're going to get done today. We might get an enormous amount done today, but I want you guys just to kind of settle in for the ride, just like you did when you first got started. And also I want to remind you, as I'm reminding myself, honestly, a part of this is just a self-reminder that we're here to really play as full out as we possibly can, to really become that future, begin becoming that future self, and becoming a new, becoming the leader the authentic leader that you showed up here in the very first place to become. And with that said, I know that the I believe statements were tough for me the first time I did the exercise. It was like, what do I really believe, right? What is it? What is, if I believe it, is it just because I believe that because I should believe that, or do I actually believe that? And I'd like to start, just like we've started with any of our other times that we've met, just sharing our experience, and I just want to remind all of you, we do this because this is how we learn. We learn by sharing our experience, which helps other people understand. And I think many of you have already gotten this already, but if you haven't, I have a secret for you. None of us are special snowflakes when it comes to this issue of taking ourselves and our lives to the next level. Let me ask that question first. Any of you super surprised that most everybody here was experiencing almost the exact same things? Anybody? It is, and how'd you feel about that?
Reassured that it wasn't just me.
Yeah, I think that especially when we don't have a forum where we can communicate like this, we're in our silos, so to speak, right? We're in our own little worlds, and we somehow feel like nobody else is experiencing the same thing. Nobody else is experiencing this struggle. And then that, I'm going to talk about this a little bit later today, but that begins a downward spiral. I don't know about you, but for me, why am I doing that? Why do I keep doing that? I'm never going to be able to do that because I keep not doing that, whatever it is, right? So we, one of the most powerful things that I think that all of us can take away from the time that we've spent together is that we aren't a special snowflake. And that actually is an incredibly empowering, at least it is for me. So who wants to share some of their I believe experience, or I believe statements, or any other remarks around their homework?
I'd love to share.
Come on out here, Rudrani.
I'm being a warrior. Hello to everyone. Have a happy Memorial Day, whatever that was. I slept all day. Anyway, what I believe is most important right now to what's happening in my life, because I have a lot of beliefs I've had in the past and I still hold them, but I would be like going over, I believe in God, I believe in, all that stuff, and we don't need to do that. But I believe in miracles, and that God will take care of me. Dreams can come true. Well, a little bit of that, Leaving past is a good thing. Leaving the past in the past. And my God, do I have to work on that. Keep active in work, play, and fun. Health leads to long life. I believe that. I believe friends are important for health. I believe health is very important. Life is an opportunity for growth and moving forward. I believe requires patience, not our timing, but, whose? God's. In other words, sometimes we think this is supposed to happen now, and I believe that that's not always the right way. And I'm trying to plan a future 3 months out, having to do with retirement, money, and health. And so I have a few more, but that's enough for now.
That's actually beautiful. Do you see how spiritual all of those I believe statements were?
I can't do it any other way.
Right
You know,
on.
that's
Right
me.
on.
And it could be spirit. It could be, the universe. You can say anything. It could be a tree. I know people that hug trees and they think that's very empowering. So
Right on. Thank you, Rudrani.
thank
I'll
you.
share. I'll share, Carla.
Okay, Ross.
First, I wanted to say that I thought it was a really interesting exercise, and I liked it. On the call last week, I started writing I was just writing really fast at the end, I believes. And then I was in my car for a couple of hours, so I just put on my recorder. And every time something would come to my mind, I would just say it, whether it was something that I would, whether it was profound or not profound, I just started blurting out, I believe, statements. So that was really cool. And then I did pare it down to my top 10 because I think that's what y'all told us to do. So I'll just share my top 10. Okay, so I believe words are powerful. Love is important. Showing up is half the battle. There is a new opportunity for good every day. I am destined for greatness. A positive mindset is very powerful. Jesus Christ died on the cross for my sins. People show you who they really are. People follow and are attracted to those who are authentic. And others treat you the way you allow them to treat you. And that's just my top 10. So it was fun for me. I really enjoyed it.
Oh my gosh, you cracked me up though. I had a picture when you said you had your recorder in your car. So if my husband did that, he'd be like, I believe that person is a moron.
Well, that's true.
I listen to him in the car all the time. I'm like, oh my gosh. Oh.
Well, it wasn't that bad.
Thank you. No. Obviously, you don't have that experience in the car. He does.
Oh, no, I do.
All day freaking long. Okay. Anybody else want to share with us?
Okay, I will.
Awesome, Diane.
First of all, I wanted to say that.
You guys, I can't hear you.
Oh, you can't?
And now I can.
Am I breaking up?
You're going in and out.
Okay.
Keep going.
Okay. I wanted to say that I was having trouble with seeing my future self. I just wanted to throw this in. And I had a friend tell me that I was thinking too hard. I was trying too hard. And I just wanted to throw that out because I have not been able to see my future self. But I'm going to try not to think so hard about it, maybe, and let it come to me. A few of my beliefs are I believe persistence will prevail. If I just keep persisting at it, it will come soon. And I always believe that everything happens for a reason. That you may not know the reason immediately, but it will down the road. And I found that happen to me many times. I believe honesty, integrity is very important. And I'm like Rudani, I believe in letting go of the past, which is sometimes hard to do. And I believe in being transparent, because if you're not transparent, eventually your true self will come out. So that's just a few.
Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Thank you for that, Diane. We got most of that.
I'm sorry, I don't know what's going on.
I didn't want to interrupt you though, but we got most of it. We could almost hear you when you were not there. We could probably put most of it together. Thank you.
Oh.
Deanne?
Yep, I'll go. I liked the exercise. I was able to connect with it. So after not being able to connect with the other one, I was like, oh, this is awesome. And the setting the timer was really important for me. I think I need those structured things. Otherwise, it just gets loose. So I was surprised at how hard it was to come up with things I don't believe. I was like really rocking and rolling with the I believe, I believe, I believe. And then it's, 5 minutes to do the I don't believe. Well, I turned them all into I believe statements. So just a few, as I believe that every person is born with a purpose that only they can fulfill. And I'm in the wellness business, so I believe that by taking control of our health, we take control of our destiny, and we are more able to do that which God purposed us to do in this life. And I believe that myself and my wellness team positively impact the health and therefore the destiny of hundreds of people. And I believe that we will impact thousands of people. Something that is new for me that I feel like is really getting down to the core, and I've really struggled with this. I believe in choosing kindness over being right. And that's new. My past self would always choose being right and being heard over being kind. That hasn't worked out so great. So I'm choosing that new belief. And actually, it makes life so much easier. Just letting go of being right all the time. And this is a favorite statement of mine that just resonates so deeply that Maya Angelou said, when people show you who they are, believe them. That's been a tough one for me to learn. So those are some of mine, but I really enjoyed the exercise.
I love that. I'm actually I wrote down choosing kindness over right, because I usually use the expression, do you want to be, oh, no, it's not in my head. Do I want to be right or do I want to be rich?
Well.
And that's usually when I'm submitting to a system or something like that, right? Or do I have to be the one that has all the answers? No, right? But I love that, choosing kindness over being right. Beautiful, Deanne. Anybody else?
I'll share.
Come on out, Josette, and then we'll go to you, the Miss Melina.
Okie dokie.
Well, it's interesting for me because me and Deanne are always opposite. So she went blank in the last exercises and I went blank in this exercise, which is funny because I have little sayings I say all the time. So I actually had to go to the family and say, what do I tell you? And then that triggered it so that I could start writing down my belief statements. So the first one is something I say all the time. If love were money, we'd be rich because we have so much of it. And I actually believe that's how everybody should be rich. Everybody would be a lot happier. I also believe that everything happens for a reason. I believe that everything is fixable. I believe that we only think that we're in control. And that has been a very hard lesson for me to learn. I believe that dreaming is the most valuable tool for setting the stage for what you intend to accomplish. I believe that every expert was once an amateur. I believe that mistakes are necessary to achieve success. I believe that education comes in many forms, not just a classroom. I believe that the word normal should be erased from the dictionary. I believe that your awareness is your greatest asset. And another one I share with my kids all the time, I believe that you should make up your own mind and not prescribe to anyone else's belief.
Oh, do you see how precious everyone's are? That's beautiful.
Though, what's interesting, though, is like what I had to do, the people around us know us and know what we believe. And I thought that was pretty cool, too, to realize we are making a difference.
And part of the homework for this week is asking people that you know some questions.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah. Cool. Jen.
Okay. Yeah, I had some resistance with this over the long weekend. But I also found it very difficult to come to the 5 minutes of I don't believe. And the timer was really good because I thought, oh, I can just watch the clock over there and it'll be fine. But it wasn't. And I ended up I think I came up with stuff that felt good as I was thinking it. And I found myself mouthing the words out as I was writing them down. So it kind of gave me like a spark. And I felt good doing it. I felt good doing the exercise. So some of the ones that I came up with is that I believe that I'm the CEO of a multi-million-dollar empire. I believe in divine intervention. You found me here for a reason. I believe in honesty. I'd rather hear the brutal truth than a lie or a falsehood. This way I deal with it sooner rather than later, no matter how difficult it is. I really believe that attitude is a little thing that makes a huge difference. I believe that kindness is strength and not a weakness. I believe in myself, that I am worthy and am capable of doing anything I set my mind to. And I believe that freedom, that thinking for yourself is actual freedom, because you don't fit into a box of what society or people think that you have to be. You're free to be yourself. I think that's true freedom. Yeah, that's I'll stop there.
Beautiful. I have something to say about that when we're all finished. Those are beautiful, Jen. Thank you. Cynthia, are you in a position where you can, I think she's stuck. Are you frozen? I think she's frozen. Unfortunately, when we're frozen, it always catches me, at least for me, and I look like I'm drunk or something like that. Do you know what those, the thumbnails and stuff at the beginning? Cynthia said she needs to buy a new camera. I'd show you mine, but it's busy right now. Okay, one last opening for you, Cynthia. If you wanna or can come out, let me know if you can. So a couple of things that I want to say. How many people, I think I know the answer to this, but I just want to, like, let's poll, have been challenged by sitting down and looking internally? I know I have, right? It's, you know, sometimes I'm like, I have to do it. I got to do my homework, right? And then of course I have the story when I finally wanted to do it, it flows, right? And so I think what we're doing here is something that most people never do. And that's spend the time or slow down enough to look at what makes us tick, what our values are, what we believe, where we are going. This is the introspection that most people don't stop to think, right? They're busy pointing at, you know, doing the next task, completing the next project. We've got our kids, I don't, but I have Dawn. We've got all kinds of other things that we want to accomplish in our lives that actually don't allow us, or most people don't give themselves the space to think about what it is that they want to create, or any of the questions that we've been asking you over the past few weeks. And one of the, hold on one second, I've got Dawn with a small emergency. Hold on a second. Yes. Okay. One of the things that when I first got started as an entrepreneur, and some of you have heard this story, and I know Jen has because she just referred to, maybe it's just coincidence, she referred to part of this story. So when I first got started, and I know I told part of this story in when we had our original webinar talking about what we were going to do in AuthenticU. When I got started in the industry, the owner of the company was very there were two owners, they were partners, and they were very hands-on in the field. So we'd have conference calls, back in those days, we had conference calls only, because that was the only way to get a lot of people together and train. And he would just over and over and over again say, be the leader, be the leader, be the leader. And I'm always like, okay, what does that mean? what the heck does that mean? And I couldn't ask him that question back because we were on a conference call with thousands of people. And so I was looking for a long time, like who did I want to become? Because I knew that I needed to become somebody else, but I also couldn't become someone else. Does that make sense? Right? I had to be me and true to me. So over the months, and maybe even it was up to a year, I would listen to people on conference calls, and as a matter of fact, there were a couple of individuals. One of you guys, most of you know, Shannon Lavinia was one of them. And I'd try those people on, right? I'd try those people on, and sometimes but that, Shannon didn't feel quite right because she came from a completely different universe than I did, and that would be fine, but for me, it wasn't resonant. And then it wasn't, and that, she was a lot younger than me, and at that time that made a difference, right? So, and then I would try on like a movie star, or I'd meet somebody along the way, like I'd see somebody that has a tremendous person, somebody who's super kind and wonderful personality that never seems to be sad or something, and I'd try that person on. And then there would be other leaders in that company that I would admire, but I just didn't feel like becoming them would suit me, right? I just could not figure out what it was, what leader I was going to become, right? Because I didn't have any person helping me through that process, like Carrie and I are helping you through the process right now. I was looking for other role models. And I know in the company that I'm in right now, the role models that we have in that company are awesome, fantastic, but they have unique and crazy pants personalities, right? And I'm sure all of you have experienced that in the companies that you're in, right? There are unicorns out there, and there are amazing individuals, but they're just not, for me, that wasn't it. And so I happened to be attending an event, and a new person, someone that was new at the company, about my age, a little bit older than me, got up on stage, and she was talking about the be, do, have principle, right? In order to have what you want, we're taught this be, do, have principle. Who's ever heard of be, do, have? Okay, awesome. Right, so we're taught have, be, do, or have, do, be, and she's talking about be, do, have, and I'm not going to go into the whole be, do, have principle here because I've got lots to get to today, and that's not what we're going to talk about today. But she said at one point on the stage, she said, "I am the CEO of a multi-million-dollar corporation," and I looked at her and I said, "But you're not." But I totally get that. I get that. I can do that because I've known CEOs of multi-million-dollar corporations, blah, blah, blah. They were all white males. but that was something at that time I could identify with. And so in my, luckily that company that I first started in this industry, though those many years ago, was a personal development company. So we were trained all the time to have your goal cards out, write down who you're becoming, what you're doing. You guys know that if you went to Top Producer Academy Live last year, we got these goal cards that we gave, and we'll give them out again this year because they're awesome. I'm a total believer in them. But I could not just try that on. I could assume that mantle. And what I didn't know at that time was that I was actually assuming an alter ego, which is exactly what we're going to be talking about today. I didn't have a framework around it. I had no idea what that was, but it was a way for me to step into a new identity that was in alignment with who I was, would be able to fill in the cracks in my perfection. Right? We all have things parts of our personalities, things that we want to improve on, skills that we want to learn, all kinds of things that aren't ideal about us, yet I could adapt. I could begin the idea of adapting or adopting, which is a better word, an alter ego that could be my superpower. So since then, I've been very fortunate to meet a gentleman by the name of Todd Herman. Todd Herman has a class called the 90-Day Year, a course called the 90-Day Year. He is also a peak performance coach. He's coached, he started out in, he's from Canada originally, and he started out coaching professional hockey players. We started out with college kids and then went on to professional hockey players. Now he coaches professional athletes, politicians, actors, people that are looking to step up their game in any area of their life. And he also has this course that I bought called the 90-Day Year, and I've attended his events as well. I consider him one of my personal coaches on my board of directors that I have of, they're not imaginary people. They're not people necessarily that I pay, but they're people that can help coach me in various areas of my life, whether or not they know it, if that makes sense, right? I have a group of individuals. I have my marriage board of directors are a bunch of beautifully married individuals that some of them I can go to, some of them don't even know I'm on my board of directors, right? That I can just look to them as an example and help me make decisions in that area of my life. And I have them as well as in business as well. So other individuals that have done this alter ego, anybody heard of Beyonce, right? We've all heard of Beyonce. Well, she had Sasha Fierce, and no one knew about Sasha Fierce until she retired her. So how everybody aware of this? I don't know if everybody is. So Nancy Rudrani, Beyonce is I guess probably the top in the world right now, pop artist, I don't know, way up there. And she had a very Southern Baptist conservative upbringing. Yet when she was with Destiny's Child, she had to go out there and have all this, be very provocative dancing and music and all this stuff. So that was a direct conflict, not with her abilities and where she wanted to go, but with her upbringing and her conservative past. And not saying that anything that Destiny's Child did was lewd, well, probably some people would have called that, but bad. I'm just saying that there was a direct conflict. Like, how does she go from where she was to this performer? How does she do that? Well, she adopted an alter ego called Sasha Fierce. And she had the things that I'm going to show you how to do it today. But being able to adopt that persona helped her move herself and her entire career into a whole new realm of possibility. And again, she didn't tell anyone. Sasha Fierce was somebody that lived inside of her, yet until she retired her. And she became part of, Sasha Fierce became her in some respects. When she walked on the stage, and she actually had rituals, and we're going to talk about rituals today too, or maybe even, we won't get to it today, maybe Thursday. She had a ritual. She became Sasha Fierce while she was getting her hair done, while she was putting her costumes on, while she was getting ready to go on stage. She was on stage, she was Sasha Fierce, and then she had rituals to come off the stage. She is not unique. Anybody hear of Bo Jackson? Bo Jackson is one of the greatest football players and baseball players that have ever existed on the planet. So Todd Herman, who was having a conversation with Bo Jackson, and he said, how did you do it? How did you become this amazing football player? And Bo Jackson looked at him and said, Bo Jackson has never played a down of football in his entire life. Not once. And his alter ego was Jason from Friday the 13th. Now, to me, that just sounds retarded. Like, what? Right? But his goal was to kill, maim, tackle, whatever person was in his way. The side effect to that was a bunch of touchdowns. but he became Jason when he went on the football field. As a matter of fact, his ritual is when he came out of the tunnel onto the field, and there was that first down line or line on the grass. He had a special way that he put his foot down, and when he put his foot down, he was Bo Jackson. When he came off the other side, he was Jason, and his team didn't want to have anything to do with him when he was on the football field. I guess he really was Jason. Right now, I'm sure he was Jason and a bunch of other kinds of alter egos, because there's Jason would just stab everybody. So what I'm going to talk about today is a framework on how to build your own alter ego. Anybody up for that? Right? Maybe you, like me becoming the CEO of a multi-million-dollar corporation was just like the idea of that. What if I could have had somebody at that time that was like the greatest prospector on the earth, the person that was the most loving prospector on the planet, or the person that knew that she had the solution and didn't care who she called to share that solution, or was already that perfect leader without necessarily being one of the crazy weirdo unicorns that we have at our companies, right? That was naturally yourself. And I just want to say too, that this is not merging your future self. Don't get that confused. This is different. Your future self can have some of these qualities, but this is a separate self that is your alter ego that can help you move very, very quickly, move forward very, very fast into your leadership. As a matter of fact, adopting this can really change things really, really quickly for you guys. Okay, so a couple of things. There is a very long handout for today. It is a lot of pages. I think it's 20 some pages. This is a handout from my course with Todd Herman. So I am sharing it with you guys illegally. So please don't share it with anyone else. I haven't had a chance to, I sent him an email, but we haven't been able to connect. I wanted to tell him that I wanted to share it with you guys, but I've gone ahead and done it. You'll notice like the first note from him on page 2 or something like that is a note, and it says Todd at the bottom. So I wanted to be in integrity and let you know that I'm sharing with this. I'm also going to be sharing with you his slides. Now, like any super brilliant person, which he is, he's actually made some things a little bit more complicated. So if you have this printed out, I'm going to stop along the way and tell you to write something else, because I've translated some of what he said into English so that you and us girls can understand. And I'll tell you where that is. And I've also put it in the slides, because I think course creators and really smart people like to name their steps. I think we all do, right? We like to name our steps. It usually helps us learn, but I think he was way too complicated with naming his steps, because I've been through this a couple of times. I'm like, what the heck is a personal limiter analysis? What is that? So I'm going to translate some of this for you, and then I'm going to go through, I've got a PowerPoint, and it's his PowerPoint that I've made for you guys. So, so that you can understand how to do this and what to do and what not to do while you're going through this homework and building this persona, this alter ego for yourself for the next few days as we do this. Any questions before I get started, or feedback? All right, hold on. I just realized that I have this PowerPoint and I didn't get it ready. So hold on. Evidently I gave a presentation last Friday and I didn't save the PowerPoint, and it's still sitting here on my desk. Okay, hold on. Set up slideshow, boom, boom, boom. Okay. All right, I'm not gonna make this fancy. Okay. Can everybody see? Awesome. Okay, so for those of you that have your handout printed out, I'm so sorry it's so many pages, but it is actually work. When I first thought I was going to say, oh, what is my alter ego? Can I be Wonder Woman? Can I be a combination of Wonder Woman and Maya Angelou? Or can I be does anybody remember the name of Steve Irwin, the alligator, the crocodile guy? His daughter, Bindi. I love her. I have like this thing, like she's like the most perfect, kind, unbelievably happy person in the world. So can I put Bindi Irwin and Wonder Woman together? Right? And then I got into this deep, long hole of trying to figure out how to do it. And what I'm sharing with you today is exactly how to do it. And by finishing this work and this is going to be this will be hard. Shouldn't tell you that because I might just manifest that. It might be super easy for you guys, but this is the inner work that can really help you move forward with confidence, consistency, and composure. So right now, I'm going to be talking about the history, which I already did. I already talked about why it's so important. There are 5 steps to this, and then we're just going to have a Q&A. So there's 3 big problems all of us face, right? All this stuff is not new, right? This is why you're here. I felt like a fraud, right? How can I be the CEO of a multi-million-dollar corporation when I'm sitting here and can't pay my electric bill, right? How can I get someone started in my business when I haven't had any success yet, or I haven't had the kind of success that I deserve? Some people get started, stop before they even get started, right? How many people have done that? I'll just raise my hand, right? Last diet I went on, I didn't even get started because I'm like, well, there's no point in that, right? And then I know you're capable of more. And as overachievers, because all of you are here, we all feel that way. We're not capable of more. And it just leads to a massive amount of exhaustion, right? Like, why am I not? I'm working so hard, but why am I not really where I wanted to be? So there's 3 things that we're going to go over in this particular webinar. I might get it done before we leave today, but we're going to really dig into this today and tomorrow. Today is just the framework. First thing is Todd Herman's 5 steps to getting building your alter ego. And then honestly, I just want to underscore, guys, this is totally in alignment with the whole concept of our time together here, and that's being our authentic leaders, our authentic self. I am never going to ask somebody to be somebody that isn't in alignment with who they already are, right? But we all could use a hand up. Maybe it's not Sasha Fierce, right? Maybe it's not Jason, but we all can use an alter ego to really blow ahead faster in many areas of our lives. And we can do that with a natural approach. And not only that, but it's way more fun. Who wrote it? It was Deanne, I think it was. Dreaming is valuable, right? Who said that? Was it Josette? No, dreaming is valuable. Oh, it was Diane. Was it you, Diane? No? Well, who was? Oh, Jen? Tell me. Raise your hand. Whoever said dreaming is valuable. I wrote it. Josette?
I know dreaming was part of mine. I thought it was part of Ronnie's too.
Maybe I wrote it down. Oh my goodness. Well, whatever. Dreaming is valuable.
We'll all take credit.
All of us. Okay. And here's the deal, right? When we were kids, we didn't have any problems when we were on the playing Barbies, or when we were on the playing with our friends, pretending and acting out other things, trying things on. And, obviously we've lost that through the years. And so this is way, way, way more fun, and it will give you that confidence and consistency to move forward faster. So here's the dreaded pieces of the alter ego effect. There are 5 parts. I'm going to go through the 5. I'm not even going to talk about these because he's got these weird names like personal limiter analysis, the talent magnifier, the origin profile. I'm telling you, us course creators, we think of all these retarded names for the pieces of our courses, but I'll show you how this works. So the first one that I want you to replace, the first step in the 5-step system is the personal limiter analysis. So I want you to replace that with what's holding you back. So if you're in your workbook, just write what's holding you back. I wrote it here. You can see, I just crossed it out and I wrote what's holding you back. Let's find out the pieces of, and the workbook is going to take you through. You can see I started, this is my first time through about a week or so ago. I wrote some things down in here. There's 3 things that you can do wrong. First of all, you cannot be honest with yourself, right? And I'll give you guys these slides if you want to. But if you want to take notes, you can. Just be totally 100% honest with yourself. You can be scared of looking at yourself. All of us are nervous about looking internally. I think we've done most of the work in this first part. And then you can not go deep enough, right? You can just take a shallow approach. For example, my first time through, I went pretty shallow. I just wrote, this is just the first couple of questions. I just wrote, like, what recurring, I wrote, what do you avoid doing? One of the first questions is, what do you avoid doing in your business? And I avoid doing the finances, I avoid doing the videos, and I avoid calling associates, right? So that's very shallow. There's probably way more things that I avoid. What recurring theme shows up in a negative way in your business? And I said, I always have new stuff to learn. So that just go deep as you can. If, like me, you've got to go through it once and then wait till because for me to be forced to do something like this is, I don't like doing it then, right? So I got to wait to the perfect time where I'm in flow and I can really dig in. And sometimes that's after a glass of wine at 8 o'clock at night. Maybe sometimes it's when I first get up in the morning, whatever it is, whenever I get motivated. In the first section about what's holding you back, there's 3 things you can do right. And that's just get honest and real with yourself. You can confront yourself. This is an opportunity to be brutally honest and then really uncover your story. Like, what really is holding you back? Questions in the handout are the 2 that I already shared with you. Recurring theme shows up in your life. What ways do you stop yourself? What are your weaknesses that don't serve you in your vocation or your role? What are the thoughts you have and you're tired of having at the end of the day and where you trip yourself up? Can you see how identifying these weaknesses or personal limiters, as he calls them, can start helping you find out what kind of qualities you would want in your alter ego, right? Makes sense. How many of you, I know, I'm pretty sure all of you are familiar with this, but how many are familiar with the imposter syndrome? If someone doesn't know about the imposter syndrome, raise your hand. Okay, so the imposter syndrome is something that almost everybody, especially when they get into business for themselves, almost everybody experiences. And it's, who am I to get someone started in my business? Who am I to put myself out there? Who's going to follow me? What do I have to say? Why should someone get started with me? This is something, unfortunately, that happens to a lot of us. I'm a fraud, and everyone's going to find out. And I don't know why this is true. First of all, you're not a special snowflake. Everyone experiences this, and mostly it happens to women. And I think, I don't even want to hypothesize. I could think of a million reasons why it mostly happens to women, but it happened to me 1,000% when I had no trouble when I was backed by a big company, going out there and selling stuff and doing what I needed to do in my job. But once my name was on the door, so to speak, I had so many issues, and that's called the imposter syndrome. Well, guess what? We're not alone. The beauty of the imposter syndrome is that you vacillate between extreme egomania and a complete feeling of, oh, I'm a fraud. Oh God, they're on to me. I'm a fraud. So you just try to ride the egomania when it comes and enjoy it, and then slide through the idea of fraud. Tina Fey. This dude is the chief of the World Health Organization. And he said there are an awful lot of people out there that think I'm an expert. How do these people believe all this about me? I'm so much aware of all the things that I don't know. Michelle Pfeiffer. I just think people will find out that I'm really not very talented, really not very good, and it's all been a sham. Kate Winslet, who's won an Academy Award. Sometimes I wake up in the morning before going off to a shoot and I think, I can't do this. I'm a fraud. And my very favorite, I have to do her voice. I have written 11 books, but each time I think, uh-oh, they're gonna find out now. I've run a game on everybody and they're gonna find me out. Maya Angelou. So, hold on a second. I got these people pinging and banging me and boonging me. So one of the things I want to talk about before we move forward is this idea of the owl versus wow. And I call this regular people versus Eeyore. Do you ever talk to anybody? I know the answer to this is yes. But have you recently spoken to somebody that all it was, oh dear, oh my, I have to work. I can't I can't do your business. I have no concept of visiting my future at all, right? They're just stuck in their present thinking and unable to think outside of their current circumstances. So Todd Herman calls this the owl versus the wow brain. And he says that it's fear focused. It started in fear. And if you can see this, people that start with their present results, of course, causes their ideas and feelings, causes their actions, and they go right back, right? And if you start from and I don't think one person here is an owl brain person, you wouldn't be here on this webinar if you weren't optimistic about where your future is going, right? But we all talk to people that start with the owl brain. You guys are a wow brain people, and you start out at a different place. You start out with an idea or thought that drives your ambition, that drives your actions and results. And I've seen this put a different way. So let's see if I can do this. And I think if I write, it'll be terrible. So come with me into my imagination. So think about a circle like this, where one per point on the circle is your beliefs. And you guys would all recognize this. Your beliefs create your thoughts, which create your actions, which create your results. Beliefs, thoughts, actions, result, or beliefs are thoughts, actions, results, belief. There we go. Thoughts, actions, results, belief. If your thoughts are, there's a possibility I could do this. I'm surrounded by people that I'm going to do this. Let's say you're a kid in high school in Manhattan and you go to a pretty decent school. You decide that you want to go to college. Well, everybody around you decide well, of course you're going to go to college. We all go to college. Then of course your actions are, well, I'm going to go to college. I'm going to apply. And then of course your results are you get into college, and your belief is I can go to college. I can do anything I want. And it's an upward spiral. If you're a kid in Southeast LA or in Compton, and you don't have a bunch of people to go to college around you, but you see somebody on a TV show that went to college and you think, I want to go to college, but you don't have any of that support around you and that belief set, and this would be an example of an owl brain, that's really tough to get to like the action of actually applying to that college. Maybe someone comes along and helps you do that, but you have to take it's really tough for that person to get out of that owl brain fear focused place and move to action, which creates results, which solidifies your belief. And I could do a whole course on this, but the whole reason that I'm saying this is that what is most valuable about this owl versus wow is simply the belief that you can create this alter ego that can really change everything for you very, 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 very quickly. There's no reason why this can't happen really, really fast. So the next step after you've taken a look at what's holding you back, and notice guys, I did not put weaknesses. Please don't use that word with yourself. I wrote it there on my piece of paper briefly, only because I couldn't think of another word at the time, but I crossed it out, and I just want you to spend some time identifying what's holding you back. The next step in the worksheet is what he calls your talent magnifier, which makes absolutely no sense to my brain. So replace it with your new superpowers. And there's a couple things that you can do right and wrong while you're going through this part of the exercise. The wrong things you can do is just not spend any time understanding yourself. Most importantly, do not be realistic. There's no sense in being realistic at all. Suspend reality. If you have, if something that's exceptional that you want in your life, that you want to think something exceptional about yourself or have some exceptional results, do not use your current reality at all to do this exercise. And then brainstorm holistically. And what I mean by that, or what he means by that, is simply being brainstorm using every piece of your body and all of your life, right? This isn't necessarily just about building your team and your business. This is about building you and your entire self. The things you can do right is know your field. And what he means by that is know where you're playing. Where you're playing in your physical self, your spiritual self, your relationships, your health, your business. Know that. And create a space. And what I mean by that is creating a supportive place or time that you can sit down and do this, right? Don't force it. Just create some space so that you can do this and engage everything. All your senses. All your 6 senses. The 6th sense is your imagination. We can do a lot with our imagination, and some of the questions that you'll be asked in this particular part is what are the qualities that you admire in others, and the skills. What skills or qualities do people in that are really great and winners in your business, what do they have? And if you were that person, what would you think and what beliefs and attitudes would you have? Again, that's all about okay, let's make up this person that's integral with my self and my belief system that we've spent the last 2 weeks looking at. Let's develop this person and figure out who exactly they are. What are the personal talents and needed talents that maybe you don't have, right? So I'm an introvert. My alter ego's got to be like Sasha Fierce, right? It's got to be that person that it just is fearless about getting out there. Not brave, not some of the other words that I chose in the exercises we did last week and the week before. Fearless. The 3rd step is what he calls your origin profile. Again, where does he think of these things? So what this means is the story of your alter ego. We're going to develop your alter ego's story, all of it. And it's not where they are now. It's, for example, Wonder Woman did it perfectly. It went back and it showed exactly where she came from, why she thinks, and then you understand why she thinks the way she thought or thinks. If you think she's a real life person, if you saw the movie, it showed her upbringing, the culture she came from, the problems that were happening in that on the island. And I barely saw the movie, but you guys should know, right? You want to develop the backstory, so to speak, so that you have this whole person that is your support person. And I just thought it was funny, Jen, when you in the comments in our group, you're like, well, here's my little friend. I'm like, yes, that's exactly what it is, right? That our little friend can help us accomplish so many things in our lives. So while you're going through this part of the homework, there's 3 things you can do wrong, right? Don't develop the backstory, right? And then you've got a one-dimensional alter ego, which isn't going to help you. If it doesn't resonate with you, it's not going to work, right? You must have resonate. It must be resonating it. And then if you're just sitting there banging your head against the wall, stop. You're overthinking. 3 things you can do right. Get inspired from existing sources. So if Wonder Woman inspires you, then start building on that, right? There's plenty of things out there that can help you build your alter ego. Engage your senses. Again, all six senses, especially your imagination, and create your inner world. A couple of questions that will be asked in this part of the workbook is questions like, who inspires you? Where are they from? What shaped their life? And you can totally make this up. You don't have to use an existing person. It can be or character or animated character, or it could be anything. It could be Barbie if you want it to be Barbie, right? I don't know. But what do they value? What's their theme? What's their influences, character? How do they feel about themselves, think about themselves? And second to, I think this is the second to last, is the artifact enhancer. Again, what the heck does that even mean? Please replace it with what is your totem. And what a totem is, Wonder Woman has her bracelet. I think it's a bracelet. Todd Herman, the guy I'm getting this from, he does not wear glasses. He does not need glasses. Excuse me. He does wear glasses. He does not need glasses. Yet, when he goes to the office, he puts on a pair of glasses. When he is in his work mode, he is Todd Herman. He's actually, his first name I think is Robert or something like that. He's then Todd, and he wears these glasses. He doesn't even have glass in them anymore, I don't think, because that is his totem. And when he goes home at night, he can't be this business guy that's impatient, that needs to get things done. That doesn't work when you have a 1, 2, and a 4-year-old. Impatience won't work, right? So he's got a process that when he puts his key in his lock and he steps over the door jamb into his house. What's that called? Anyway, steps into this home, he takes off his glasses and he becomes the husband and he becomes daddy. That's a totem. A totem can be, for the longest time I had this little, it just got so dirty. It was this little cloth bracelet, a little threads, whatever it was, woven bracelet that reminded me to be brave. I will totally admit to you guys right now, I don't have a totem because I can't write at this moment because I can't figure out how to incorporate it in and out of my life. I haven't figured that out yet. I haven't figured that out. So 3 things you can do wrong is not using one, right? So I'm in the process right now of figuring out what that is. It could be even something on your desk. Todd told the story of an investment banker. A hedge fund manager, a friend of his, has a lamp that was his great grandmother's lamp on his desk. And he keeps it there because she didn't take any shit, right? She was just like a get it done kind of woman, and he wants to be that too. So that's his totem. It can be a lamp, it can be a stone. I do have a stone that I carry around in my purse, but that's not quite what I'm talking about here, right? That's not what we're talking about here. A totem that you can use. And the worst thing you can do is not do it, not attribute any meaning to it. And then, of course, what we're all great at, don't overcomplicate it. 3 things you can do right, of course, is use one, connect to it, and keep it simple. Some of the questions that we'll ask you in this part of the exercise is to help you figure out what your totem might be, right? Does it make sense to wear something? Does it make sense to touch the door? I know that, we have a mezuzah on our door, right? So that reminds us of certain things as we come in and out of our house. What is it for you? And then the last step is what's called the immersion experience. I didn't write a translation, but here's where we get to the actual implementation of your alter ego, and that's immersing yourself into, and not merging, being able to take on your alter ego. And 3 things you can do wrong is just to put it on. You guys get that? Just putting it on and feeling, because feels false. Or not practicing, because this will take practice, and not giving yourself a deadline. And things you can do right is be deliberate about it, practice, and do this in short bursts. So one of the things, I think that's all I want to show some examples. One of the things that I want to tell you is this is not something that you can make change instantly by adopting pieces of this, but I really going to urge you to spend some time fleshing out who that alter ego is, spending time developing that backstory, spending time figuring out what might be your totem. Melanie Duncan, I don't know if any of you follow her. She has a special pen that she uses to execute certain parts of her business, that she gets her pen out and sits down and does what she needs to do. That's her totem for herself. What is the challenge that all of us will have is making the habit of incorporating this person into your life. So ask yourself, maybe what's that trigger, right? Because I'll give you another example for me. All my entire life, I was really bad at sports where you had to hit a ball with something. So whether it was tennis or paddle tennis or ping pong, for some reason, I just got it in my head. I'm sure it was all in my head that I was bad at sports, that I had to hit a ball, softball, baseball, you pick, right? But at one point about 5 years ago, I really wanted to learn how to play golf. But I had this thing in my head that I was bad at hitting balls for some reason. And so I just decided that I wasn't going to accept that when it came to golf. So I decided that I was going to be amazing at golf. And every single time and this was just using a part of what I'm teaching you today. So every time I went to take my lesson, every single time I addressed the ball, I said, I am an amazing golfer. And I used to make fun of myself. Don would be like, shut up. Because, you go to hit balls and you're hitting like 70, 80, 100 balls at once. I am an amazing golfer. I am an amazing golfer. But what happened was that it became true. I came and I met that future self, that future amazing golfer. I became a really good golfer in a really short period of time. So this is just another example of how the words you speak, and I never saw my future self as an amazing golfer, but this is a way for me to get past that place where I was not an amazing golfer, because I just kept telling myself. Examples of people that have done that, I talked about Sasha Fierce. David Bowie became Ziggy Stardust for a while for a couple of albums to explore some of that art. And somebody that I think you'll all love is Cary Grant, right? He was not Cary Grant. And I love this quote: I pretended to be somebody I wanted to be, and I finally became that person. Or he became me, or we met at some point. And I know that I'm way over, guys, today. We will finish up next week for sure. I mean, on Thursday for sure. I had to blow through those slides, but I really wanted you to understand a couple of things that are really important, because we're really this authentic piece. If this feels inauthentic to you at all, you're doing it wrong. Any questions?
Did you cover again the whole not your future self? Because like I'm flipping out on her. I really think she's cool. So, but she can't be my alter ego.
Some of her can be. I just want to make sure, because you could do it that way. It's just not part of the, let me just think this through. And there was a reason
Like
why
characteristics of her. She's
Yeah.
calm, she's confident, she's kind, she's warm, she's loving. So I can pick an alter ego that has that.
Of course.
But my future self is named Deanne Broderson. You know, like that's me. So you're saying I need somebody to kind of round out like when, you know, I'm an introvert as well. So why I'm attracted to Carla Silver, because she's an introvert. You know, so that extrovert, bouncy, like feels very comfortable doing that. That's the alter ego. Like in my 20s and 30s, I had an alter ego. Her name was Sheba the Jungle Girl. So she was fierce.
I love that. See, you had one, right?
Yeah,
Here we're looking to look at ourselves and our business, think where are the gaps that we might want to fill right this second.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay. I love you all. Sorry for the PowerPoint. It felt very weird and awkward to me, but I had a lot of information I wanted to get through. Let's start on this. I don't know if you can complete it. That would be awesome. It is 20 some pages, but I have a funny feeling. I'm feeling Josette over here that she knows who her alter ego is. She was leaning forward there. Smiling. All right, origin story, name, maybe the idea of what a totem would be. Some of you might already know. And we'll see you on Thursday, my sweet. And say hi to the cat. Hey,
Yes,
baby.
she's here. Thank you. It was
Bye,
awesome.
everybody.
Awesome.